Oh, no, this is not at all the news I was expecting to see. Of all movie franchises, well, I wouldn't even call it a franchise, of all movie existences in the animation field, I was not expecting to make a comeback. It was certainly going to be Sausage Party. This movie is a spectacle in the sense that the trailer was so influentially impacting in the moment, and then the actual final result was, a little bit cringe in a lot of ways. I kind of enjoyed it. It's very weedy, basic toilet humor. It's interesting, to say the least, and I guess that's worth talking about, because somebody decided that Sausage Party is indeed coming back in some form. It's not a full-on sequel movie, don't worry too much. This time it's coming out in the form of a TV series for Amazon Prime Video. Apparently Jeff Bezos loves his nachos with nutsacks. You can really tell that Amazon and Apple have money to burn with some of these projects. I'm stunned that they've actually followed up on this. Now, to be fair, at least on the Amazon side of things, with the recent success of the Fallout TV series, I wouldn't completely bet against them on this. They seem to know what they're doing when it comes to TV series, but that's adaptations for gaming, so maybe I'm far off the mark. Still, when it comes to acquiring IPs to adapt into series, they've done pretty decently. The question is, will they have the budget to bring back Tom Kenny as the off-kilter SpongeBob box? Yes, of course they do. This is Jeff Bezos we're talking about. But yes, looking at other Amazon series that they've been working on, you got things like The Boys, Reacher, and Invincible all doing very well for themselves separately. So honestly, it's probably leading to a success. Weirdly, the only majorly divisive blunder of a series on their part is Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power, which should have been too expensive to fail, but So yes, here we are, what a timeline we're in, with a follow-up to 2016's R-rated Crude Fest Sausage Party. Somehow this movie is 8 years old already. I'm stunned. Released by Sony, but unsurprisingly not under their generally kids-friendly animation label, the movie was essentially a parody of contemporary animated movies. Instead, they collaborated with Nitrogen Studios, which, well, we'll get to what went wrong there in a bit. The obvious comparisons is that it essentially applies Toy Story logic to food, and I think that was the main thing they were going for. It's a spoof of Pixar's signature what if blank had feelings format, which, to be fair, was a solid idea that sometimes worked. Sausage Party it was an interesting project, with the story being headed by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and Jonah Hill. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's a conceptualized parody of early 2000s CG movies. Sometimes it's literally a Seth Rogen comedy that's been animated. Don't get me wrong, it's a step further in its inventiveness than that animated Adam Sandler movie that they could have well just done in live action, but nonetheless, I feel they didn't fully fulfill the potential of the concept they had here. I think that was the issue for this movie. Maybe beyond the tone. Instead of telling a story that warranted an R rating, the aim of the story was to pad out enough rude stuff onto it to warrant that R rating. In fairness, there are some examples of otherwise. The more organic, if you pardon the pun, use of more adult content would come in the form of the darker scenes where the humans chop up and eat the food characters. Personifying those baby carrots as children as they get chomped up during that horrific in-mouth shot is so brutal and really justifies why the movie conceptually asks for an R rating. And then there's the swearing, which generally I don't mind in movies, but here it often feels like they've added them in just to bump up the movie's edginess, you know? The best swearing is when it's really used to make an impact, like it did in the trailer. Here, in the full final project, I just feel there's often something missing. And yeah, don't even get me started on the bloody food orgy scene, which everyone talks about and can never be unseen. Wow, I'm so glad that they censored it by removing a single pubic hair. Apparently that was the only thing that got rejected the first time. Also, real quick, you're already halfway through this video, so if you haven't already, come subscribe if you want to keep up with animated movie news. But also, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this new Amazon series, or give me your thoughts on the original movie. Did you despise it and hate it? Did you love the trailer? Do you think it's an underrated movie that deserves more attention? I'd love to hear your thoughts, keep the discussion going wherever you feel, and I shall let you get back to the rest of our thoughts at least on the fact that Sausage Party is indeed coming back. And this is without getting into all the behind-the-scenes drama of animators and production houses getting mistreated and overworked. Which, judging by Across the Spider-Verse being accused of similar last year, is a lesson Sony has yet to learn from. Which is a nice way of saying Sony still has a serious problem with exploiting its animators and production collaborators. Just putting it out there again. To be fair, this is a lot more complicated than that and circles around the production company Nitrogen Studios. The allegations there tie into co-director Greg Tiernan's own conduct, reportedly blackmailing animators to work hours of unpaid overtime. Worse still, 36 of the animators were allegedly blacklisted and went uncredited in the movie, likely due to not reciprocating said blackmail. By the way, just to put it out there, Greg Tiernan is still working and directed the 2 awful Addams Family animated movies. Suddenly, everything makes a lot more sense. Let's just hope he treated his staff a bit better there, eh? Nonetheless, the movie came out and, well, it didn't do the best numbers in the world. It made $141 million worldwide, which is on the lower end for an animated project, especially when you have bigwigs like Sony attached. In his defense, this was completely untested waters, and it was kind of a pilot of whether it could work, and it sort of did. Also, thanks to all that sweet worker exploitation, the movie only cost $19 million to make, so yay. I do think it was one of those movies that kind of got passed on in the cinema, but then did better on home video and streaming. And this news of a streaming series is probably the proof in the pudding, as Prime Video is preparing to give this series a big launch for its July release. In fairness, we've already seen an adult twist on a family-friendly concept perform very well as a series. I haven't watched it, and it's not really my thing, but the TV adaptation of Ted has apparently been very successful with audiences from what I've heard. And I'd definitely say that whilst the Ted movies were a lot more successful, Sausage Party definitely occupies a similar space. Honestly, what is with these raunchy Toy Story ripoffs? Anyway, despite much skepticism, Seth MacFarlane's foul-mouthed teddy bears had a decent run of it on streaming. So who's to say other Seth Rogen's sausage, can't do the same? Yeah, you heard me in that mix. By the way, if you didn't know, the main sausage character is called Frank, i.e. Frankfurter. How did I not know this whole time? I guess my brain was switched off when I watched it. Anyway, the series' official title is Sausage Party Foodtopia. And who knows, with a title like that, maybe they will go the full Zootopia parody with a full-on city populated by food. Well, I'm expecting to release this video around the Friday, maybe weekend mark, so presumably I'm expecting there to be a trailer I've been showing you throughout this video. A poster came out a few days ago, which usually is my marker to say, keep an eye out for a trailer. So I'm gonna jump to the future and dissect the trailer for you now. And if that trailer doesn't exist yet, then I guess you're just getting this. I hope it's a decent enough replacement. Trailer will probably be coming soon. It releases in July, come on. Now yes, of course, this will be yet another collaboration for Seth Rogen and Prime Video, which has been a running theme in the past between the two. To be fair, The Boys in particular has been massively successful, so I don't blame him at all. Let alone Invincible and all the other stuff he seems to produce now. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I'll be watching something miles away from anything I would associate with Seth Rogen, and then his name just pops up. He's a real powerhouse. And he is attached to the Mario movie as well, so he's in there. Anyway, that is all the news at least so far in regards to Sausage Party. I now better add to my job description that I'm keeping an eye out for edgy, horny sausages on the side now. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this potential Foodtopia series. At least I didn't call it Food Fight. Or hey, if you've got reviews and opinions about the original movie, I'd love to hear it down in the YouTube comments or on our Discord server. I'm very skeptical and I'm a little bit scared, but I guess we'll just see how the final product comes later in July. I might watch it. I guess I have to. For now, though, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. I'm gonna go record the halfway mark segment now, and I shall see you in a little bit.